chat. All right. And, many of you are on the right track, but yo-yo syndrome is an effect, more of what's happening in here in your brain than anything else. And when we are talking about yo-yo syndrome, I want you to understand a couple of things. Number one, there's a huge difference between losing or releasing weight and releasing fat. Two different systems in the brain and your biology are responsible for those things. Weight is made up of water, tissue, muscle, bone in some cases, right? And when most people go on a diet and they go, oh my God, look at the scale, I've lost 5 pounds. Most of it is water loss. And they think they're doing themselves a service, but they're not. They're actually working against their biology and neurology. And so when we think of fat is a very, very different focus than weight loss. Point number one. So what causes fat gain? What causes fat loss? Now, what most people think that it is, and according to a lot of nutrition experts, and I hired the best of the best. I spent over $15,000 with world-renowned experts on the neurology, biology, and chemistry of releasing weight and keeping it off. And most people think that fat gain is you take in more calories than you burn or consume. And they think that fat loss, is taking in fewer calories than you burn or burning those calories. So they think that calories in, calories out, that's what causes me to lose weight. And is that right? Well, let me give you some statistics. How many of you have seen the show on TV, The Biggest Loser, right? It's a group of people that are obese and they have trainers and nutritionists and all this stuff, and they show you their journey along their weight loss program. And everybody is blown away by how much weight they've lost through diet and exercise, right? But are you aware of this statistic? 95% of those people you see on TV that are working with exercise and fitness people regain the weight back during the that they've lost during the show. So they are like at the highest level of commitment of diet and exercise, of watching what they eat and how much they eat and how much they expend, and 95% gain the weight back. Why? This is a thing that you need to understand, right? And here is the answer. There's something called metabolic adaptation. Let me explain. Many of you know, your brain was built basically in 3 stages. I'm going to simplify it. There's a concept called the triune brain. There is the instinctual brain, the emotional brain, and the logical brain. And what happens is when the instinctual and emotional brain, recognized that people were using more energy than they are used to, exercise, consuming less energy than they're used to, diet, their brain said, uh-oh, what's going on? Are we going back to a starvation time, which in our DNA and in our cells, we remember those feast or famine moments. Remember, we are highly intelligent, and your DNA, your genetics, don't just, operate today, but they have the cellular memory, of feast or famine time. So when people use diet and exercise as their only strategy, many of them follow adaptation, metabolism actually slows down. So you think you're kicking up your metabolism, but there's a part of your brain, I'll show you in just a little bit, that overrides this fact. And you go, oh my God. So that's why I have these cravings. That's why I have these triggers. That's why it's easy for me to diet for a week or 2, but then all of a sudden I eat like a bear. Yeah, that's why. That's why I start to rationalize and tell myself, well, I've been really good, for 3 days or 2 days or 5 days. And then I go to the fridge and I raid the fridge, or I stop my exercise program. Yeah, that's why. Is that why we start to rationalize, which means we tell ourselves, rationalize why we don't need to be as strict this weekend because there's this party? Yeah, that's why. So when we are focused on diet and exercise alone, the hypothalamus in our brain, there's a part of our brains, there's the hypothalamus, like the little brain, it interprets weight loss. You lose 1 pound or 1 kilo, 2 kilos, 3 kilos, 5 kilos. It actually represents in the brain as a threat. And when your brain perceives diet and exercise as a threat, what do you think it does to your diet and exercise program? It fights you. Your brain will fight you. So, does this make sense? How many of you are glad you're here right now? How many of you are glad you're here? If this makes sense, type in the chat right now, oh my God, that makes sense, or just this makes sense. So when you review the studies like I have, okay, the scientific studies on diet and weight loss, almost every diet and exercise program produces short-term weight loss, not fat loss, but weight loss from dieting or exercise. But these are not maintained. 2 years after a diet begins, 95% of people gain all the weight back they lost. And 3 years later, 41% gain more weight than when they started. Why? Because they haven't focused on recalibrating a couple of parts of the brain. So here's my question for you. Why go through the effort? Like, I was so sick and tired of doing another diet because I was not wanting to disappoint myself anymore. I didn't want to disappoint my wife anymore. I didn't even want to tell her that I'm going to try another diet. I'm going to do it again because I'd done it so many times, 10, 12 times between the age of 40 and 48. I promised vows of amendment. I won't eat, okay, the chocolate. I'm a sugar addict, by the way. I used to drink a bottle of wine a night. Okay, I haven't had alcohol since 2009, September of 2009. I'll share with you, what I did because I had to recalibrate my own mind. I used to eat desserts every night. I used to have a bottle of wine every single night. I gave up sugar. I gave up alcohol using the techniques I will show you today and the understanding I will show you today. So when we are talking about weight loss and fat loss, we have to focus on a couple things. When we get into this state of burning more calories than we consume, okay, it puts us into a fight against our own biology. And what I mean specifically, is this. All right, if you think about, and I'm not suggesting, how much you weigh, but when we focus on just calories in, calories out, we focus on diet and exercise, the metabolic slowdown starts and the fat starts to regain. And it's this vicious cycle that is what is at the cause of people's yo-yo dieting and losing weight and not keeping it off. And here's what I want to ask you is, if you're going to put in the effort, why not put in the effort that's going to last? Like, why do it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times? I personally was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So give me a second here. So there's 2 kinds of fat loss, right? There is short-term fat loss, and most fat loss diets and exercise work with short-term fat loss. So here's one of the decisions I want you to consider. When I did the research, there were 11,000 different papers on diet and exercise for weight loss. And there were thousands of books on the topic. And there was one common denominator between the programs that worked versus the programs that didn't. The programs that worked, okay, did not focus solely on the diet and exercise aspect. When they focused on the short-term fat loss or weight loss for a reason or a season, a reason, a wedding, a reason, a bachelorette party, a reason, a bachelor party, a reason, any type of reason, every diet worked. When they focused on a season, it's summertime, I want to look better in my summer clothes, or I want to fit into this dress. for this season, or this suit for a season, every single diet works. So if that's you, if you are interested in losing weight for a reason or a season, you can hang up right now, okay? Get off of this Zoom. You don't need anything else. Just keep doing what you're doing. However, if you are committed to releasing weight and keeping it off so you're healthier, happier, you feel good, maybe you even feel sexy and alive and energetic right now, then stick around, because what I'm about to share will transform your life for good. And I'm all about sustaining what you do. So here is something to consider: is what are the secrets that differentiates your diets from those who achieve permanent fat loss? And I will share with you right now, right? Number one is you have to make a decision, if you're serious and committed, on what changes in your lifestyle, including, of course, a way of eating. I don't like to call it a diet. The first three letters of the word diet are what? Right? Die. And most people, go on a diet for a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. And then what do? Once they hit their target or close to their target, they stop the very things that got them there. So the number one focus has got to be around sustainability. Whatever changes I choose to make, pay close attention. Whatever changes I choose to make today to release the weight, to get healthier, happier, more energetic, etc., I have to be able to sustain it. Now, do you really want to go on the 700 calorie a day diet? No, it's not sustainable. So that's number one key. And I can't tell you what's right for you, but I can tell you there are several ways of eating that are perfect for each type of person that is sustainable. I'm talking about you being in the 5%, not you being in the 95%. So if you take a look at this graph right over here, in the top left, okay, this is where most overweight people around the world are. They have what is known as obesogenic habits and patterns. They have obesogenic habits around food, diet, exercise, nutrition, sleep, okay? They are focusing on many of the wrong elements, right? Where there is so much of their way of being is enriching, okay, their fat on their body, them being unhealthy. And those on the right, it's also effortless for them, but they have fat loss promoting habits. Now, let me ask you a question. If it's around habits, thought habits, emotional habits, behaviors habits, right? Where is that in your brain, right? Where are your habits in your brain? And the answer is, there's a part of the brain called the striatum. And that striatum determines what you naturally do. So wouldn't it make sense, right, that if we want to release weight, keep it off, have more energy, vitality, we have to create over a period of time, not a short-term thinking, but a little bit longer-term thinking, to create new habits so that the habits then create you. When we're focusing on fat loss and fat use habits versus, you'll see in just a little bit, carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates and sugar use, we now are promoting the better use of fat for fuel, okay, and complex carbohydrates for fuel in a pattern that will reinforce our vision and goals for our health. When we go on these crazy diets, the bottom right, okay, we are constantly suffering, right? We're doing diet and exercise, okay, to lose fat. We do intermittent fasting for short bursts of time to promote fat use, which is great, ketogenic diets, but it's not sustainable. Right. And so when we are focusing on the bottom half and the top left portion of this graph, we will use or we will lose weight. No problem. But you will not sustain it. So that's what I'm going to ask you. Are you committed to releasing weight and then keeping it off? Type in the chat. Let me know, John, I'm committed to, because like I said, you are going to behave based on the habitual patterns you have. 95 to 98% of your thoughts and emotions and behaviors and habits are governed by your subconscious mind, right? Well, if you don't recalibrate, reshape, rescript your subconscious patterns, and you just use conscious willpower and goal setting and diets and exercises for short term, you will lose weight, but you're also going to be disappointed over and over and over and over again. And 45 out of 100 of you will actually gain more weight than you have right now. If that's okay with you, go ahead. But if you, like me, okay, want to release weight and keep it off, keep paying attention. So answer in the chat. Are you committed? Not interested, right? Interested is you do what's easy and convenient. Committed is when you do whatever it takes, right? So when you are focusing on releasing fat and keeping it off, all right, you have to focus on lifelong habits versus quick fixes. Lifelong habits that are sustainable versus a quick fix. Quick fix, like a miracle cure, a miracle diet, sure, it works. But it works on the wrong parts of your brain and biology. So you do not want to do this anymore. Stop the insanity, all right? And so then there's another part that almost nobody talks about. You certainly don't see it on TV. And that is around resetting your hidden self-image, okay, which I'll talk to you about in a moment, and resetting your fat set point. Let me explain the fat set point first. One of the things that we're discovering in the behavioral neuroscience and the neuropsychology research right now is that every one of us has not only a hidden self-image, right, but we also have fat set points. So our bodies over the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, we have got this setting inside our brain that calibrates how much fat, okay, we have within and on our body. So we have organ fat, fat around our organs. We have visceral fat. We have fat, that we can touch and feel and see. And our brain has this fat set point. And anytime we start using those fat stores, okay, that adaptive part of our brain kicks in and says, you're going to starve me. And that means that it is going to go into a metabolic slowdown. So I'm going to talk more about that in just a moment. But when we talk about self-image, there's a part of our brain called the parietal cortex. And the parietal cortex is the place where you and I have our self-image, how we see ourselves. And every day when you look in the mirror, every day when you get dressed, every day when you think about, how much weight you want to release and let go of, that you're overweight by 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 kilos or more, you're reinforcing a self-image, not only at the conscious level with your words and your emotions and your thoughts, but with a subconscious strengthening of that pattern. So here's what happens. And this has been proven in study after study after study. People, okay, will go on a diet and exercise. And then psychologists will work with them to have them look in the mirror as they're releasing weight. And you know what? The most amazing thing is happening in a lot of people's brains. They actually don't think they're losing weight, or when they think they're losing weight, okay, they then turn on this switch to stop doing what they were doing. Why? Because this part of our brain, the parietal lobe and this fat set point, are deeply connected, and it is triggering an overriding of your willpower switch to stay on the diet. So when we are focusing on releasing weight and keeping it off, there's a hidden internal body image and a self-perception, but there's also this expectancy of what our physique looks like. And our brain has got these neural patterns around our self-image. I was overweight for so long I didn't see myself as overweight, even though technically I was obese. I had 33% body fat. So at 243, I just thought I was a big, strong, muscular guy. But the evidence thought otherwise. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So when we see ourselves as being 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 kilos overweight or pounds, it doesn't matter. Then when we release weight or lose weight with diet and exercise, our brain quickly wants to recalibrate to the hidden self-image to calibrate what's in the subconscious mind versus the conscious goal or desire to release the weight or go on a diet. So we have to create, all right, a conscious and subconscious coherence, okay, or match. Because if we don't have a match between our subconscious mind and our conscious goal or vision and desire for our body, our weight, our energy, our health, then we will be yo-yoing till the day we die. So listen, like I said, I invested $15,000 figuring this out with experts of what was the cause, all right? What was the cause of me yo-yo dieting? And there's something called automaticity. And this is your brains, my brains. Every brain works the same, by the way. It's something that our brain does. Remember, I shared with you that there's 3 parts of the brain. There's the autonomic part of the brain, the oldest part of the brain, the emotional part of the brain, and then the logical part of the brain, the triune brain. Well, there's a part of our brain that creates these patterns and creates these automatic triggers and behavior. It's called automaticity. It's a way for our brain to automate what we eat, to automate our thoughts, to automate our emotions, to automate our habits. And when we automate habits, the habits then reinforce themselves without much energy. This is why it's so hard for most people, because they don't understand that they are fighting their biology and the mechanics of how their brain works. So when we are talking about, resetting your brain, right? The 4 keys are sustainability, quick fix versus lifelong habits, resetting your hidden self-image. And number 4 is going to be your eating patterns. Now, let me explain what this means. Is everybody has a way of eating. It doesn't matter if you're in the United States, in South Africa, in Australia, in the UK, and it doesn't matter where you are. We all have gotten our habitual way of eating. However, what most people don't know or focus on is there are certain foods that the food makers are fully aware of that cause severe addictions. Chocolate, ice cream, French fries, pizza, cookies, chips, and cake. And I'm looking over 2 screens right now. Now, flour, salt, sugar, and fat. Flour, salt, sugar, and fat, especially in those combinations, okay, create a highly addictive brain that wants to keep eating those things. And based on how the brain consumes calories or food, right, it's the autonomic nervous system that consumes the first calories to keep you alive. Your body functions alive. The next part is that emotional brain of ours, right? And when we are low on our in energy, our brain wants the food that tastes the best and will give us the quickest energy source. If you go back in time, right, to caveman days, they would pick and eat berries all the time. They would pick and eat food that was easy to digest and easy to give them the mental focus and the energy that they needed. Well, our food system, you may have remembered the word that was used earlier, obesogenic society, obesogenic habits. Obesogenic habits just means that the food choices and most of our diets, okay, are geared towards keeping us fat. And our brain becomes addicted to these ways of eating and diets. And so, for example, I mentioned to you earlier, I was a sugar addict. Are you aware that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine? Now, when you eat, okay, simple sugars, okay, whether it's a chocolate bar, whether it's soft drinks, your brain is getting that immediate sugar from refined sugar, which is different than sugar from, let's say, a banana or berries. but your brain becomes addicted to that particular type of food because it's getting one of its needs met, which is automatic, quick energy. Now, the good news is you feel good for about 15 minutes. But then because of the insulin spikes to make up for the extra sugar in the body, you go actually into a metabolic crash and then you get tired. So I don't have time to go into all of this, but here's what happens. When we eat some of the foods that we eat, all right, that has a quick spike, okay, in the simple sugars, simple carbohydrates, simple sugars, refined sugars, there's an area of our brain called the ventral tegmental area and the nucleus accumbens, which releases the dopamine, the feel-good neurochemical. Well, who doesn't want to feel good? So when we're stressed out, we tend to have a lower willpower. We tend to eat more foods that release the dopamine. When we are not achieving our life's goals and dreams, when we have a fight with our spouse, our children are giving us, challenges, things aren't working out the way we want. Many people go for the foods that will actually cause them to feel better. So now that emotional part of the brain is getting these hits of feel good, feel good, feel good. And for some people, food is how they get love without being judged or blamed or ridiculed or embarrassed. So they use food as a comfort food to feel better. Why? Because this part of the brain lights up like a Christmas tree. But here is a problem. When we are stressed, when we are when we don't sleep well and our hormones haven't regulated well at nighttime, we actually will reduce, or this part of the brain, the willpower part of the brain, that we actually need to stay on our exercise, diet, and new life plan is very, 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 very low. And so there's a direct correlation between your diet, between stress, between your lifestyle, and you being able to release weight and keeping it off. Now, I hope you don't mind that I'm giving you the mechanics of why you may be yo-yo dieting, and I'll give you, how to do this. And so when you are not aware of these things, you're fighting, billions of years of evolution, 200,000 years of, Homo sapien on planet Earth, the neuromechanics of getting healthy and staying healthy. And when your willpower reserves are low, the chances of you staying on a healthy lifestyle way of living with the right nutrition, food plan, with the right amount of exercise for you, with the right choices, when you're fighting your biology and neurology, it's a battle that, as you saw earlier, 95% of people will not win. So I want to give you the winning formula. Here are a couple of pictures. So on the far right was me at around 225 pounds. By the time I was 50, I got myself into fairly good shape, and that's my wife, Maria, upstairs on our deck. The picture on the left was just a couple of months ago in Mexico, and I not only released the weight for my birthday, I decided for my 60th birthday, I want to do something I've never done before. Not at 16, not at 26, not at 36, 46, or 56. I wanted to have a six-pack for my 60th birthday. You remember I shared with you that I was a sugar addict? Well, the only thing that was holding me back was every night I had a great diet, no alcohol, great sleep, exercise, perfect food plan. But every night after dinner, about 2 hours after dinner, I would just have this insatiable craving for sugar. Remember I shared with you this sugar, is like the nemesis of many of us. So I had to make a commitment. And so I said when I was 59, I said, okay, the next step, there's 2 steps I have to take. Obviously, I need to work on my abs and to strengthen them and to create some muscle. But six-pack abs are not made by the gym or exercise. It's made in the kitchen. And so I knew that I was getting about 500-600 extra calories every single night. All right. And even though I was in great shape, I didn't have the abs I want. So I got myself into this plan. to first and foremost stop sugar for 30 days, then 90 days, and then I continued for an entire year. So one whole year I didn't have any sugar from my 59th birthday to my 60th birthday. And I used some of the techniques I'll show you in just a moment, all right, to stop my addiction to sugar. And just so you know, when I hit my 60th birthday, I just decided I don't need to have sugar, refined sugar anymore. And so I did this. This is my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, upstairs on the deck. This was a picture on my 60th birthday. I didn't have a six-pack at 16, 26, 36, 46, but I got myself into the best shape of my adult life, which I still am in right now. How? By focusing on what was happening in my own brain. So here's my question for you. Not only have I done it for myself, but I've had thousands of people follow, the process of changing from the inside out. And my question for you, and give me a yes or no in the chat, right? Are you committed and are you ready to change from the inside out so that it's sustainable? Because if you are, then I have a couple of questions for you. This is a body fat spectrum, all right? And I was at the 45% or 43% mark, and now I'm more between around 12% right now, and I'm actually going to go to about 10% because I've got another goal right now for my 61st birthday. But where are you right now? And where would you like to be, right? Let's start with a vision and a goals. And let me ask you a question. If I could help you get there, would you be willing to try something different and something new that is proven by science to work? And it's one of the only things that'll help you sustain weight release and get you to be healthier, happier, more vibrant, more energetic. And if you commit to doing this one time and following through and developing the habits that I'm going to share with you, then you can get better and better and better into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and beyond. So type in the chat, okay, what body fat percent would you like as your next step? And you may not even know what body fat you are. So just, pick a picture, and say, I'd like to go from this to that, and type it into the chat. All right. And here's what I would like you to do. Let's activate the imagination center. And the imagination center is this. How will you feel when you release 10 or 20 or 30 pounds? Or, as I mentioned, I know there's an international crowd here, 10 or 20 or 30 kilos. And how will you feel knowing that it is sustainable? Imagine that for just a moment, all right? How will you feel yourself? Will you feel proud? Will you feel, amazing? Who else, by the way? This is something that I never thought would happen. Like, I never thought I would be here sharing stuff with anybody about my fat loss journey, releasing 43 pounds of fat. I never thought that this would, I'd take this turn, but because I've been a behavioral neuroscience researcher for 41 years and somebody who's committed to the best life possible, which is what I teach people how to do, how could I not share what I've discovered about the brain and the biology of fat loss and keeping it off with people who want to be healthier and happier, right? So how would you feel? And here's something that I didn't know. It's impacted my children. My wife, who just turned 50, is in the best shape of her adult life too now. I was in a restaurant the other night just down the street, and this guy, and everybody was wearing a mask because of COVID, in the general area of the restaurant. This guy taps me on the shoulder as I was sitting eating. And I looked up and I go, can I help you? Do I know you? And he pulled his mask down. He said, I just want to thank you. I said, what for? He said, I saw one of your trainings, like the one that you're seeing right now. And he said, I just loved what you said. I'm going to have a six-pack at 70. I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't even, I don't know who you are. So you don't know who you're going to impact, but I can share with you something. The people around you may be skeptical because you've said this and done this before. But when they watch your commitment, when they watch the amount of willpower you have, when they watch how you're changing, not fast, slow and steady and sustained, they're going to go, wow, maybe I can get healthier. Maybe I can be in better shape. Maybe I can, have, the life of my dreams, physically, of course. But I tell you one thing, when you feel great physically, don't you want to do more things? Aren't you inspired? Aren't the people around you inspired? I tell you, my wife and I started about 39 days ago, a 100-day plank challenge just for her and I. And we posted a couple of videos that she and I are just doing this. We started with 1 minute plank. After 2 weeks, we're at about a minute and a half. After 4 weeks, we're at 2 minutes. And today, we're still doing it. We did like 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We've done as much as 3 minutes. So small little behaviors over time become empowering, constructive, powerful habits. So if you're ready to feel sexier, more attractive, right? If you want more confidence, if you want to have even greater self-worth, if you want to look in the mirror in the morning, naked and say, you're starting to look better. You're starting to feel better. Let me share something with you that many, many thousands of people have followed with me, all right? I created something called Winning the Game of Weight Loss, all right? And it includes a couple of different components to help you win the game of weight loss once and for all. And if I can, let me share this with you. Let me just get this thing on my screen right now, and I'll share with you what I did, all right? First and foremost, I wanted to create something that is prescription strength. So if a doctor had to prescribe it, which a doctor does not, this is what she or he would do. And let me share with you something. This is a chart, okay, that we have our members just self-regulate and send us information, okay, of what is the weight loss over a period of time while they're doing this program. And just so you know, we're focusing on fat loss versus weight loss. And this is a chart that we can stand behind. Now, some of the people here, okay, that we charted over the course, of 3 months, all right, some of them released over 25 pounds of fat. And the way they did that was they had scales in their home that was able to tell them their weight and their fat loss percentage, and they tracked it. So we're focusing on fat loss, okay, and sustainable fat loss. But the average person released 15 pounds of fat in 3 months. And since we're focusing on keeping it off, many of them went on to release 30, 40, 50 pounds of fat, and they still have kept it off today. So if you want to be a part of this, here is Martha. Before retraining my brain, I weighed 162 pounds and had been yo-yoing for the last couple of years. Today, I weighed in at 143 pounds. I have lost almost 20 pounds and 10 inches. And today gave away my size 14 jeans. I am now size 8. Tammy, I didn't even know there was something called circadian rhythm, which is something we will teach you about in the program. When I started the program, that was the first thing I fixed, and it had been life-changing. Honestly, my husband and I had to sleep in separate beds for 18 years. He now doesn't snore. He's gone from 210 to 175 pounds. Woohoo, grateful to be able to sleep in the same bed again. Jackie, hugest thanks, deepest gratitude, love to Winning the Game of Weight Loss. Having done the program, I've been steadily losing weight because everything has changed. I don't binge, I don't crave, I don't even think about food much, except when I'm growing it in my garden. I am the healthiest and happiest I've been in years. Today, I am posting because I told myself, when I get under 200 pounds, then I'm going to shout out. So I'm shouting. I did it. 89 pounds released. And now at 199 pounds, I am so happy. Glenn, well, I'm 1 pound from reaching my weight reduction goal of 215 pounds that I set 2 years ago from 275 pounds. I did this by only eating healthy foods and inner sizing, which I'll explain to you in a moment, period. I'm thrilled with my results. I literally have thousands of these, all right? Let me explain to you the program. You remember I shared with you that in order to win this weight loss game, you have to reprogram your subconscious mind, and you have to recalibrate your weight and fat set point. You have to augment your self-image, change the self-image from the one that sees you overweight now to the image that you want. Well, many of you know I've created some of the most powerful brain training programs in the world for business and money, but I also now created the most powerful brain retraining program for fat loss and weight loss and recalibration. And this program comes with 12 different levels to retrain your brain. All you've got to do is put on your headphones and listen to the audios while you do other stuff, and it will automatically reset your fat set point through the exercises that I'll guide you through. It'll help you, develop the awareness around the emotional triggers and the situational circumstances that cause you to binge eat or overeat or eat the wrong foods. It'll help you identify and control food addictions, and it'll help you make better eating decisions. Now, all of the exercises, each level comes with some video training too. So you watch the video training, you listen to your exercises, one level each week for 12 weeks. So level 1 for week 1, level 2, week 2, level 3, week 3. And we developed something called a stacking exercise effect using a variety of scientifically proven methods to retrain your brain. 20 minutes a day. While you're doing other stuff, I don't care. You don't even need to pay attention to them because it is geared for your subconscious mind where all of these patterns are. I worked with some of the top fat loss experts in the world, self-image experts in the world, emotional eating experts in the world, nutritionists in the world. Everybody that I hired initially for that 15 grand, I then hired them to help me design and develop this program so that I can create the most powerful brain retraining audios in the world with the videos to support them. And what will this do? This will help you create and reinforce new neural patterns, new self-image, new beliefs, new awareness, new control levels that you've never had before. How do we do it? Well, our brain training program uses a variety of scientifically proven methods, to help you retrain your brain, to put you into more control. So you don't have to rely only on willpower, but your subconscious habits will reinforce the patterns that you want. And what I can promise and guarantee you is you will once and for all, once you get started and keep going, you will once and for all win the battle of weight and fat loss. Now, the 12-week audio and brain training program, the value of that is $997, and you won't have to invest that today, but I'm not just going to leave you with that, because I also took these experts, J.J. Virgin, Ari Whitten, Mark Waldman, Mark David. I created a library of everything you need to know around diet, exercise, nutrition, sleep, circadian rhythm. There's an entire library of up-to-date, amazing information on what you should do, when you should do it, how you should do it for every type of situation. So it's not only about choosing the best food plan, people call it diets, that is sustainable, but it's how to set realistic goals, how to make sure you're using fat, versus just losing water, and how to master your emotions, right? Because when we have addictions, when we have patterns, then guess what? Our brain wants to override what we do. So we will show you exactly how, to manage your emotions. And the Weight and Fat Loss Success Library retails for $500, and there's multiple hours of programs in there. And so the value of that's $14.97. But we're also going to do this. Your environment, plays a key part in your choices, right? In your energy level, in your decisions. So I'm also going to include a video training on how to master your environment so that it will support your choice to be healthier, happier, sexier, etc. So that's going to be one of the bonuses I include for those who act now and take action right now. I'll give you the link in just a moment. And that normally sells for $197. And I recently created 9 new inner sizes for you to be able to gain more awareness, focus, control of your emotions, for you to be able to see yourself achieving your health goals, but also your other life goals. I'm going to give you those for free, okay? So you're not only going to get the 12 brain training audios and the videos that come with those for the Winning Game of Weight Loss program, I'll give you 9 extra audios, okay, that'll help you in every other area of your life. And those are $97. So this package so far is $1,791. And there's 2 more things I'm going to do for those of you that act right now. Ari Whitten is by far one of the leading nutrition, exercise, and energy experts in the world. He is part of this program. He was one of the people that I hired initially to help me. And if you want to hire him, he would cost you probably $1,000 an hour. You don't have to, because he's in the library, and he's also going to give you his PDF book, Forever Fat Loss. And then there's another gentleman by the name of Brian Ullman, who's also in the program to train you. He is considered the doctor of last resort, where major corporations and associations hire him to work with the people who are having the hardest time releasing weight and keeping it off. He works with the Rolling Stones, just to give you an example. Well, he's given us his Keep It Off, Use the Power of Self-Hypnosis to Lose Weight Now ebook as well. I'm going to give that to you for those of you that act right now. So the total value is $1,848. And here we go. I'm also going to give you JJ Virgin's Sugar Impact Diet 2-week cookbook. And she is a New York Times best-selling author. Total value, $1,895. What do you think if we take off $895 and it's $1,000? Do you want the link now? How about $497 for the entire package? All right, now here is what I'm going to do. And I hope everybody clicks on the link right now. Ready? For the first 50 people, who click on the link right now, your total investment for the 12 levels of brain training audios to rescript, reshape, repattern your subconscious mind, the videos library, so you know exactly what to do, how to do it, all of the bonuses, the 9 other inner sizes, the ebooks, and JJ Virgin's cookbook, $197. First 50 people, here is the link. And let's put that link in the chat also. And here's what I can promise you as well. All right. Everything that I do comes with a full 30-day money-back guarantee. If this doesn't literally transform your life and your awareness and understanding, okay, of how to release weight and keep it off so you're healthier, happier, more vibrant, more energetic, you have 30 full days to go through the program. Let it work for you. Subconscious mind, okay, is going to get reprogrammed. So I know it's going to help you. You have nothing to risk. I'm taking all the risk. So all you need to do, click on the link, sign up right now, get started, and get into the best shape of your adult life. And if you don't want to do it for you, what about your spouse, your children? What about the older version of you? Because here's the decision that you want to consider. You're on a train right now, and you're going in a certain direction with your health, with your weight, with your energy, with your vitality. Are you on the right train? Are you on the right track? Because if you're not on the right train, you're not on the right track, you can predict where you're going to be in 5 years or 10 years. And are you okay with being less energetic, having less energy, being more disappointed, wishing you would have taken action today? So click on the link. Let's get you started with this program right now. Let's get you feeling healthier, looking healthier, being in the best shape of your adult life. And let's make it effortless. Let's make it stressless. It doesn't mean that there isn't effort, but it means that you're going to be doing the right things from the inside out and the outside in, so that you release that 5 kilo, 10 kilo, 20, 30, or 40 kilos, and you keep it off and you enjoy the lifestyle that comes with it. And so will the members of your family and your friends. I cannot tell you how many of my friends and followers are now in the best shape of their life because they finally found the keys to sustainable weight loss and lifestyle changes versus going on a diet that they never stick to. All right. So with that, click on the link. First 50 people get this price. And then here's what I'm asking you. Would you do me a favor? Get started with the program and then send me an email. All right. Connect with me and my team and let me know how you're doing in the first week, in the first month, 2 months, 3 months, and send me a photo. I want to see photos when you are ready to share it with me. All right. All right. So with that said, now you understand how you could win the game of weight loss once and for all. And Saj, if we want to do some Q&As, I am ready for a few Q&As. And I hope that this was informative. And we have, 10 minutes or 15 minutes where I can answer some Q&As, or 5 minutes, Saj. So let me know. Did that give you an awareness of what's going on in your brain and how you can win the game of weight loss once and for all?
All right, guys, what an incredible session. Go ahead and put some love into the chat for John. I've got a question from Stacy saying, I keep hearing that I just need to cut carbs. I tried this, but it didn't work. What did I do wrong?
Tracy, well, first and foremost, it depends on what kind of carbs you need to cut. But it's more complex than just carbs, as I mentioned. We do need to understand that everybody has something called a base metabolic rate. All that means is that at rest, every human body, and it's different for everybody, needs a certain number of calories. That's part one. Part two, the type of calories that you put in, every bit of food that we put in gets converted, to something called glycogen. Glycogen just means it gets converted to energy. Now, there are three distinct areas of energy we're talking about. One is like simple sugars, easy to digest, easy to create that automatic fuel, but it's like gunpowder. So when you cut simple carbs, there's two different types of carbs, Stacy. There's simple and more complex. So a sweet potato is sweet, but because it has fiber, it actually burns a lot slower. So think of it a little bit differently, everyone. Think of your fireplace, or think of a fireplace. You use paper to get the fire going. You might use kindling wood to burn a little bit slower. And then you have logs, bigger pieces of wood. We need a little bit of each one, all right? We need a little bit of each one. And I think, I was asked to put the slide back up, all right, of where you can order this. Does that make sense, Stacy? So when you simply say cut out carbs, I would say, yes, cut out simple carbs, but you need some more complex carbs because it burns slower. And that means you're going to have more sustained energy, but you don't want to eat too many of those because then you have a caloric surplus. Another one, Saj?
We've got Tim that says, I struggle with this because no one in my family is thin or fit. How much of the role does DNA and genetics play in this journey?
Great. So there's genetics, and then there's something called epigenetics. So let's say you have a genetic predisposition to being overweight. Okay. And let's say the culture that you come from has a pattern of eating that may not be the healthiest. Okay. Then not only do you have the genetic predisposition, but then you have an environment, that you were born into that reinforce the very patterns, for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations. That's part one. Here is what all of the latest research shows. that epigenetics, meaning your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors will override an entire DNA predisposition code. So that means that you can start on this program, recalibrate, reshape, rescript your subconscious patterns, and you know what? You'll be able to finally break free and be the first person. It's no different, if people are born into an environment of poverty. It's no different if people are born into an environment of abuse. It's no different if people are born into an environment, of poor eating habits and an environment of, of lack of money. The environment reinforces the DNA or the genetics that were there to begin with. But there's break-free individuals in every form of life, right? In every form of our society, I mean. And so even though you may have a genetic predisposition, your epigenetics is stronger than that. And here's what you need to do. Make a commitment that you're going to be the first to break away. And then use this program to be the leader to show people what's possible when you commit to sustained behaviors and sustained results.
Incredible. Guys, you want to head over to realsummons.com/JAS. The link is in the chat. Head over there and claim this incredible offer. We've got Mike Berlin. It's a little bit of a personal question, John, but it says, with all this weight loss that you went through, how did you manage not to have loose skin on that six-pack photo?
I was fortunate that, I guess prior to the weight loss, I was, I had some muscle underneath, I think. And then I started doing more weights every single day. So I built on a little bit of muscle. So I got a little bit of muscle structure now. And I guess I was fortunate.
All right.
Maybe it was my genetics.
We've got Kim says that in the program, will you help us shop right? Because most things that are healthy are quite expensive.
Got it. So in the program, it will show you, the types of foods you should eat, right? And there is a variety of different types of diets. So I'll give you an example. For me, and this is not for what I'm suggesting, for me, I decided to try being a vegan. And I tried 100 days of being a vegan, and I liked it so much. I did another 100 days. And after 100 days, I really liked it. So I did it. And I've been a vegan now for like 9 years. So I don't eat any animal protein. There's other people that it's just not right for them. They like to have chicken or fish and meat. And so once you understand what you can eat, then you start to create, a list of what you can afford, and then you eat those foods. And here's what a lot of people misunderstand, and I think they have a challenge with this calibration. Either you're going to make time and effort for your health, or you're going to pay to manage your illness, right? So which do you prefer to invest in? I look at my eating plan, as an investment in my health. I don't take, other than allergy pills, because I live in San Diego, I don't take one pill for anything. Neither does my wife. And I say that because so many people are on, pills for diabetes, pills for high blood pressure, I was on that track. I was heading in that direction. And I said, instead of paying for doctor visits and medical bills and drugs and eating, foods that are making me unhealthier, I just decided to invest in rescripting and reshaping my mindset, so that investing in me was a very worthwhile endeavor, right? Because what we have to change is, some of the ways that we're looking at stuff. And food doesn't have to be expensive. You just want to eat the right foods. And here's something that a lot of people don't know. When you eat the right type of foods, and we have plenty of diet and nutrition information in the program, you're actually so full, in a comfortable way, and it sustains itself. So you're not eating more. And so I don't know who asked that question, but Kim. I wouldn't be too concerned about that, because There are plenty of outstanding ways of eating that don't have to be brutally expensive.
All right. We've got Troy S. I'm not too sure what your surname is, Troy. We've got Troy S. saying that I start a new lifestyle, but I get derailed when my wife makes something incredibly sweet and delicious. How do I manage that?
Yeah. So in one of the slides that I shared earlier, Saj, I showed that there's, the emotional center of the brain. I talked about the three areas of the brain: the instinctual, the emotional, and then the thinking, logical part of the brain. So we may make the decision to, release weight and keep it off and be healthy and vibrant. But then there are emotional triggers. So if you saw the slide, it said, emotional triggers that might be situational. So when we have, let's say, desserts or sweets like I love, right? Those trigger, that dopamine reward center of the brain that lowers your willpower muscle, especially, after 3-4 o'clock during the day when our energy levels go down. Well, if we don't have any techniques of what do I do in those circumstances, how can I actually be in those environments and not allow the bait, right? The situation, the person, the time, the thing to control me, right? And so in this program, in some of the brain training levels, but also in the videos, I will teach you the skills, to have whatever it is right in front of you that might make you salivate. But then for you to have the willpower muscle, I call it a neuromuscle, be stronger than your brain's desire to want to eat that. Now, there is something called mental contrasting or mental rehearsals. And we can use this technique to put ourselves in the situation 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, play it in our minds and see ourselves being victorious over that situation. Now, what do we know about the brain? Any type of practice makes permanent patterns. Any permanent pattern that's reinforced creates habits. Any habits then reinforce themselves. So I will teach you how to do that so that you are in control of your mindset and your emotions and the triggers and the situations that may want to cause you to veer back into your old behaviors.
Incredible.
It's
guys,
all in this program. And again,
guys, you want to head over to realsummits.com/JAS. Get in now. The link is in the chat. John, I've got one more question for you, but the person wants to remain anonymous. I've got a 12-year-old son who desperately needs this. Is he too young for this type of program?
No. If he's willing to do it, and here's what I recommend: do it with him. And if you have a daughter, do it with her. Why? Well, first and foremost, this program will reinforce really amazing thought patterns, emotional patterns, habitual patterns. It'll upgrade your knowledge and skills, and it'll show you exactly what you need to do for the rest of your life. So not only can you use it with your son, you can use it for yourself, your spouse. It'll make you so much more aware of your patterns around food, exercise, nutrition, lifestyle. And then you'll be able to choose, a great life for yourself. Listen, almost everybody, when I ask them this question, do you agree with this? Your health is your wealth. I know money, helps us, with our lives. But isn't it true that if you were, let's say, a billionaire and you were unhealthy, you would give away all your billions just to have your health back? Why would you have, why wait until then? All right, I'm offering you a chance to own your health for an investment of $197 instead of $1,800. And not only will you be able to help your son, you'll help yourself, and you'll help the rest of your family as well.
Incredible. Guys, you want to head over to realsummits.com/JAS. The support team have got that link in the chat. Incredibly discounted down to $197. The value of this is so much more. And with a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee, you have no reason to not pursue this, because as John says, you'll be able to sign up for 30 days, test drive it, and see the difference it makes. John, I'm going to hand it back over to you. If you could do one quick recap before we wrap up on this incredible session.
So you're going to be receiving immediate access to the 12-level brain training audio program to help you with 12 different levels to reprogram your subconscious mind, your self-image, all right, and how your subconscious self-image is controlling what you eat and what you expect in your fat set points. You're going to create more confidence and certainty in your ability to choose a way of eating and choose whether it's to walk 5 minutes a day, whatever it is for you. It makes sense to get moving and to increase, that thermogenic activity in the body. And so you're going to have 12 levels. You listen to each level. One level for week 1, then you move to level 2 for 1 week, level 3 for 1 week. And the reason for that, by the way, is as I showed you earlier, we use a variety of different methodologies that create new neural patterns in your subconscious mind and then reinforce them for a whole week. So it's like going to the gym to exercise for a week. And then in week 2, you build upon what you worked on in week 1. And then in week 3, you build upon what you worked on in week 1 and 2. And in week 4, you build upon what you worked on in week 3, 2, and 1. So it's a stacking system using the most advanced brain training methods in the world today. But not only that, you're also going to have video instruction where you watch the video, you upgrade your knowledge skills, and you take action. Not only that, we'll show you how to make the right environment so that your environment supports you. We're also going to include the 9 additional inner size audios that I never used to give away with this program. I've done it today. And so you're going to have that to be able to use it for other parts of your life. So that's like a real awesome bonus. I'm going to give you 2 ebooks, Forever Fat Loss by Ari Whitten, and a phenomenal book by Dr. Brian Allman, who is an expert in weight loss and keeping it off. He works with some of the hardest people in the world to get to lose weight. JJ Virgin, she's known all over the world. You're going to get her sugar impact diet for any of you who, like me, may have had some issues with sugar and simple carbs. So the total value of this entire all-inclusive program, if I offered it for $1,895 and you applied it, you would tell me it was the best investment of your life. And as I mentioned before, you're not going to have to pay $497 for it. Your investment is just $197, but it's for the first 50 people who take action. So take action, get it started. Here is the link one last time. And as I mentioned before, we can put the link in the chat. Take it for a ride. Start listening to the audios, watch the videos, and get the results. If it doesn't work for you, we'll give you a money-back guarantee, 30 days. I know it's going to work. That's why I'm taking all the risk, all right? So there you go. If you're committed to do this, if you're serious about your health, your family, your energy, your vitality, you want to look better now than you did in the last 2, 3, 4 years, make a commitment to yourself, and let's get you on the track to being the healthiest you have ever been in your adult life.
Incredible. Guys, one more time, realsums.com/JAS. The link is in the chat. But we're going to say goodbye to a phenomenal human being. John, it is always a pleasure having you with us. We look forward for you to come back and share more of your incredible wisdom. Guys, go ahead and put some love into the chat. Let us know just how much you appreciate the great man himself, John Assaraf. Thanks a million, John.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you. Thanks for all the wonderful comments in the chat.